Most anime fans took the wrong lessons when they're watching their favorite anime characters in their training arcs, or when they're training in general. They think if they train harder, sweat more, do workouts 6-7 days a week, that they'll automatically build the physique of their dreams, and that's just not how it works. If your goal is to look leaner, build muscle, and actually like the way you look at yourself when you see yourself in the mirror, training like every day is a training arc, balls to the wall, isn't gonna get you anywhere you need to get. What's up? My name is Jordan, also known as the Fitness Senpai, and I help everyday lifters achieve their anime-inspired physiques. Welcome. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they have a goal, but their training style is completely different from that goal that they actually have. So let's break it down. First, your training has to line up and match up with what your goal actually is. So if your goal is aesthetics or hypertrophy type training, meaning you're building the size of your muscles, you need to be focusing on recovery and muscle growth. That's what you need to do. It's not about proving how hardcore you are. Because when most people say they want an anime-inspired physique, they train like fighters, or they train like top 1% athletes at their sport, like football or soccer or rugby or something like that. Those athletes aren't training to look like that. Those fighters are not training to look like that. Look at one of the best fighters in the world, Daniel Cormier. He looks like a butter-built person, but he knows how to fight because he trains on how to fight. When people were like making fun of Patrick Mahomes when he won the Super Bowl a few years ago, he had his shirt off and he had his belly all out. People were like, well, that's not the body of an athlete. That's the body of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He doesn't care about how aesthetic he looks. All he cares about is throwing the football. Well, his training is different from what your training is going to be. Now, there's nothing wrong with training to be like an athlete. If that's your goal, you can do that and still build a good physique. But if you're trying to build the size of your shoulders, chest, your arm, your back, your legs, your focus for hypertrophy training needs to be progressive overload, making sure you're placing enough mechanical tension in your muscles, recovering, and then doing that a certain amount of times throughout the week to have enough frequency and have enough volume. Not too much volume, like junk volume, just enough to stimulate muscle growth. And that leads me to the second point. Doing more does not mean it's automatically gonna be better. When people try to get started in building like that hardcore gym lifestyle that they think that they need, they have shorter rest times, they wanna be at the gym every single day, and they're chasing the soreness, or they're chasing the pump. If they're sore after the workout and they're sore the next couple of days, that's how they think they know they had a good workout and they're gonna grow. But soreness is not an indicator on whether you had a good workout or not. Muscle is built when you train hard enough, the intensity is hard enough to where you are giving your body a reason to grow and then recovering enough to where after it's done recovering, after 2 to 3 days at most, then you're able to go back and hit that muscle again. But if you're doing all this junk volume, all these sets, you're just causing yourself to have to recover a little bit longer. When you could have just worked out after 3 days, now it took you 5 or 6 or 7 days. Your leaning gains on the table. Your programming should be you train, you get out of there. Eat enough, you sleep enough, hydrate enough, you recover enough, then you get back and train that muscle again. And quite honestly, as a starter, you can get by with just 2 to 4 workouts per week. If you have time problems, or you're just new to the gym, or maybe all you want to do is train 3 or 4 times a week, that's totally fine. As long as your programming is intelligent enough to where you're able to stimulate that muscle growth, that's all that matters. The split doesn't matter. It could be full body splits, it could be upper body days, lower body days. You can do a bro split if you want to, but now you're missing the frequency aspect. You could do push-pull legs. It doesn't really matter. And again, depending on how many days you have, the more flexible your splits can actually be. But what matters most is the consistency. And when I say consistency, I don't mean always going to the gym and changing up your workouts. No, your program is going to be relatively the same thing. It's probably going to get boring, where you have those 3 workouts and you're just doing those 3 workouts consistently for weeks or months. And then after that mesocycle, then you want to switch off into another mesocycle or another training split. But try to give a program at least 8 to 12 weeks. And honestly, 12 weeks is probably going to be the better option. I've run programs for 6 months, a year before, and I've still been gaining muscle. I've still been progressing, but it's going to get boring, but that's fine. Do you want to get results, or do you always want to change things up? Because if you're changing things up, how are you able to progressively overload? Because now you're not doing this exercise, you're doing a completely different exercise. So how do you know you're actually getting stronger at the movement? So if you want a real anime-inspired physique, or if you actually are trying to chase that aesthetic look, which has a lot of benefits outside of just looking good, you gotta ask yourself this question: what is my goal, and how do I like to train, or how do I think I need to train? Do you want to train like an athlete that's good at their craft, at their very specific craft, or do you want to have the aesthetics and the physique of your favorite anime character? There's nothing wrong with either route that you go to, and you could do both, because whatever that goal is, if you get bigger and stronger from chasing aesthetics or chasing that anime-inspired physique, it's going to benefit you when you want to train like an athlete later on. If you're already training like an athlete and and you want to get better at having a better physique and anime related physique, it's going to carry over regardless, because there are certain movements that as an athlete is going to carry over to your bodybuilding journey. So it doesn't really matter. They have their place. Each thing has their place. Now, if the goal is to build that anime inspired physique and you need a little bit of help reaching your goal, comment below what character you're trying to chase, what anime physique you're trying to chase, and we'll talk it out for there. And if you already know what anime inspired goal that you want and you just want specifics on how to reach it, go ahead and click. You'll be able to have access to my free SKOOL group that has free workouts for you guys. It also has a community full of nerds all trying to build their anime. Click the link and join my free SKOOL group. That's it. Now go on.